following story contains descriptions of graphic violence and disturbing events that may not be suitable for all viewers. It tells the true account of one of the most sadistic killers in American history, a man who abducted, tortured, and murdered dozens of young men, hiding their remains beneath his own home. This is not fiction. This is the real story of John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown.
(1970s) Chicago. A city alive with opportunity, but shadowed by fear. Beneath its suburban charm, something unspeakable was stirring. A predator was watching, waiting. It began quietly in 1975, when the Asucha-year-old John Butkovich, a hard-working young man employed at a small contracting company, suddenly vanished. He had recently been in a dispute with his employer, a man known for his political connections, generosity, and clown performances at local fundraisers. His name was John Wayne Gacy. Butkovich had gone to confront his boss about unpaid wages. He arrived angry, but determined to get what he was owed. After a heated argument, Gacy promised to settle things. But the young man left empty. It was supposed to be just another bad day at work. He never came home again. When John's parents realized he was missing, they called the police. His car was found a few blocks away, keys still in the ignition, wallet untouched. Nothing made sense. There were no signs of a struggle, no witnesses, no clues, just silence. At first, the disappearance seemed isolated. Police noted the employer's name, but Gacy was a respected businessman, a community volunteer, a precinct captain even known to the local police chief. No one believed he could be involved. The case quietly went cold. But over the next few years, more young men in Chicago began to vanish. Hitchhikers, runaways, and local teens. Each disappearance had a familiar rhythm. Last seen near the northwest suburbs. Last seen with an older man offering work or a ride, and then gone. The city was on edge, a palpable sense of dread hanging in the air. The missing posters began to multiply, each one a silent scream for help. Who was taking Chicago's sons? The answer lay hidden in plain sight, in a quiet house on Sumerdale Avenue. Behind the facade of a friendly neighbor and dedicated community man, John Wayne Gacy was building a kingdom of death. His alter ego, Pogo the Clown, delighted children at parties and hospitals, a symbol of innocence and joy. Yet, this same man was luring victims into a carefully constructed trap. He used his construction business as a lure, offering jobs to young men and boys who were often desperate for work and money. One such victim was 17-year-old John Schick. He was last seen in January 1977. After telling friends he was going to meet Gacy to discuss a job, he never returned. His family filed a missing person report, but with no evidence of foul play. The police were powerless. Gacy, when questioned, simply denied knowing the boys' whereabouts. He was charming, cooperative, and utterly convincing. The police had no reason to suspect the man who shook their hands and offered them coffee was a monster. The pattern was always the same. Gacy would use a ruse, a magic trick, a promise of payment, a friendly conversation to get his victims to put on handcuffs. He would tell them it was part of a game, a demonstration of an escape artist's trick he knew. Once they were restrained, the friendly mask would drop, and the true horror would begin. His victims were subjected to unspeakable acts before being brutally murdered. Gacy's methods were calculated and cruel, a chilling display of predatory power. He buried his secrets beneath his own feet. The crawl space under his house became a mass grave, a silent, earthen tomb for the young men he had destroyed. The stench of decay began to permeate the house, a smell so overpowering that Gacy's wife and neighbors complained. Gacy dismissed it as moisture, as dead rodents, as anything but the truth. He poured lime and concrete over the bodies, a desperate attempt to contain the smell and the evidence of his crimes. He was literally living on top of his atrocities. The disappearances continued, a steady, terrifying drumbeat of loss. Grigory Godzik, a 17-year-old employee of Gacy's, vanished in December 1976. John Mowry, 19, disappeared in 1977. Russell Nelson, 21, was gone by 1978. The list grew longer, a grim roll call of stolen lives, each one a puzzle with a single Horrifying common denominator, John Wayne Gacy. Despite the growing number of missing persons last seen with him, his reputation as a pillar of the community served as an impenetrable shield. The breakthrough finally came in December 1978, with the disappearance of 15-year-old Robert Piest. Piest vanished after telling his mother he was going to talk to a local contractor about a summer job. The contractor, he said, was a man named John Gacy. Unlike many previous cases involving runaways or drifters, Piest was a good student from a stable family. His disappearance immediately triggered an aggressive investigation. Detectives from the Des Plaines Police Department, led by Chief Joseph K, zeroed in on Gacy. This time, they would not be so easily swayed by his charm. They placed him under 24-hour surveillance. As they dug into his past, they uncovered a history of sexual assault charges in Iowa, a detail that painted a far darker picture of the respected businessman. The mask was beginning to crack. The investigators obtained a search warrant for Gacy's home. Inside, they found a disturbing collection of items belonging to other missing young men. A class ring, a driver's license, a receipt from a film processing store. The receipt led them to photos of Robert Piest, taken just hours before he disappeared. The evidence was damning, but the most horrifying discovery was yet to come. During the search, an officer noticed a strange, sweet, and foul odor emanating from a heating duct connected to the crawl space. It was the smell of death. Gacy, arrogant and confident to the end, had made a fatal mistake. He had run out of room in his crawl space and had begun disposing of his later victims in the nearby Des Plaines River. Confronted with the mounting evidence, Gacy's composure finally shattered. In a chilling, rambling confession that lasted for hours, he began to detail his crimes. He drew a map of his house, marking the locations of the bodies buried in the crawlspace with cold, methodical precision. "You know, clowns can get away with murder," he reportedly told investigators, a statement that would forever link the image of a smiling clown with pure evil. The excavation of 8213 West Somerdale Avenue began. It was a scene from a nightmare. One by one, the remains of Gacy's victims were unearthed from the cramped, foul-smelling earth beneath his home. Forensic teams worked 4 weeks in the grim darkness, recovering 26 bodies from the crawlspace. Another 3 were found buried elsewhere on his property, and 5 more were recovered from the river. The final count was a staggering 33 victims. The city of Chicago and the world watched in horror as the true scale of Gacy's depravity was revealed. The friendly neighbor, the generous volunteer, the funny clown, it was all a lie. Beneath the suburban dream lay a charnel house, a monument to a decade of terror. John Wayne Gacy had not just hidden death beneath his home. He had cultivated it, nurtured it, and lived with it every single day. In 1980, John Wayne Gacy was convicted of 33 counts of murder and sentenced to death. He spent 14 years on death row, never showing a shred of remorse for his crimes, maintaining an eerie and defiant arrogance until the very end. On May 10, 1994, he was executed by lethal injection. The story of John Wayne Gacy serves as a chilling reminder that evil can wear the most ordinary of faces. It can live next door, shake your hand, and even make your children laugh. He exploited trust, preyed on vulnerability, and turned a symbol of childhood innocence into a mask for unimaginable horror. The silence that followed each disappearance has now been replaced by a story that must be told, a warning that echoes from the dark spaces hidden just beneath the surface of everyday life. The boys who vanished into the Chicago suburbs are gone, but they are not forgotten. Their names are forever etched into the city's history, a somber testament to the killer clown who hid death beneath his home.